Bismillahir-Rahman-Rahim. The status of Hadeeth in Islam. Through the Quranic and historical perspective. How were Ahadith compiled? How did these Ahadith reach us? What is their status in Deen? What is the mutual relationship of the Quran and Ahadith? Ghulam Ahmad Parwez. Muhammad Aslam Jairajpuri. 10 Was Rasul Ullah Hanafi or Shafi?
The religious scholar
Maulvi
says that Deen is the name given to the combination of the Book and Sunnah, and by Sunnah is meant those sayings and actions of Rasul Ullah which are noted in the collections of Ahadith, which were neither given to the Ummah by Rasul Ullah, nor were they compiled by the Sahaba.
With what inclinations these collections were compiled can be judged from the following commentary, which has been published as Zajajat al-Masabi in the journal Siddiq. Lucknow, India. October 9, 1953. In it is written,
Every educated person is acquainted with the scholar Tabrizzi's Mishkat al-Masabi.
This authentic and useful collection of Ahadith of the Messenger, despite being relatively brief, has been available for centuries in India and is serving as a beacon of light for the general public and intellectuals. But the author, despite being very famous, definitely did not belong to the Hanafi sect but was a Shafi. Therefore it is natural that his tolerance and bias towards the Shafi sect is frequently apparent in his book. And because of this the scholars of the Hanafi sect felt the need for another similar collection of Ahadith in which the bias was according to their maslak. After centuries the blessing of fulfilling this need practically has fallen to Hyderabadi Fazl. This means that Mishkat al-Masabi was published for this purpose, in order to establish that the Shafi maslak was exactly in line with Sunnah. This was very uncomfortable for the Hanafis.
Now this new collection has been compiled to prove that the Hanafi religion is in accordance with the Sunnah of Rasul Ullah.
In other words, Mishkat al-Masabi was written to prove that Rasul Ullah belonged to the Shafi sect. And now Zajajat al-Masabi was written to prove that Rasul Ullah was of the Hanafi maslak.
Both the sects of Hanafi and Ahl Hadith follow Ahadith.
But how deep the aversion and differences between these two can be judged from one incident. Maulana Mufti Muhammad Hassan, teacher of Maulana Shah Ashraf Ali Thanvi, was the founder of Jamia Ashrafiyya, Lahore. Maulana Jamil Ahmad has written the following incident in Weekly Quddam ud Din.
Lahore. Of the 14th of June 1974. Hazrat Mufti actually resided in Hazara, Pakistan, but later on he spent part of his life in Amritsar, India, and was therefore known as an Amritsari. While living in Amritsar he asked for allegiance to Hazrat Hakim al-Ummat Maulana Thanvi Nur Ullah. Hazrat said, because you have learnt Ahadith from scholars of Ahl Hadith, while I am a Hanafite, this will not be reconcilable. You will therefore first need to learn Ahadith from a Hanafi scholar and then request allegiance. So Mufti Sahib spent 3 years in Deoband, India, for education, and after this Hazrat bestowed allegiance on him. Have you noted the mutual differences between the two big sects of Muslims? Those who follow Ahadith, i.e., if an individual learns Ahadith from a scholar of Ahl Hadith, then a Hanafi scholar does not allow allegiance to him until he learns Ahadith from a Hanafi scholar. Anyway, these are those collections of Ahadith,
which are called Deen. And the status of these collections is that the collections of Sunnis prove that Rasul Ullah was Sunni, while those of Shias prove that Rasul Ullah was Shia. Then among the Sunnis one collection was compiled in order to prove that Rasul Ullah belonged to the Shafi Maslak, while another was compiled to prove that he was of the Hanafi religion.
Recall the way that Allah has said regarding Abraham that he was neither Jew nor Christian.
Similarly, Rasul Ullah was neither Shia nor Sunni, neither a conformer to traditions, nor a non-conformer, neither Shafi nor Hanafi. Rasul Ullah was solely a Muslim, and his maslak was that of the Quran. The rest of the associations are all concocted by human beings, and Allah and His Messenger is free from these inventions. Allah has stated, "It is He who has named you Muslims, both before and in this." i.e. Quran 22:78. And His Messenger declared, "I am the first among you
of the Muslims."
6:163. 11. Some ahadith from Bukhari Sharif. We have already written that there are such narrations present in our collections of ahadith which can never in any way whatsoever be attributed to Rasulullah.
You have already seen some examples of these kinds of narrations in previous pages.
In this chapter we wish to quote some narrations of this type taken from Bukhari Sharif. The significance of the collection of ahadith of Imam Bukhari is that it is considered the most trustworthy of all the Sahih Sitta,
the 6 collections of ahadith.
And it is called the real book after the Book of Allah, i.e. the most accurate book under this heaven after the Quran. At this point it is necessary to reiterate that the belief about ahadith is,
after research and established outcome, the exact
status of ahadith is the same as that of the Holy Quran. And in fact its denial has the same effect on Iman and truthfulness as that of denial of the Holy Quran. Denial of those ahadith which are proved true according to rules of authenticity and according to the opinions of the Imams of Sunnah is kufr and equivalent to exclusion from the Ummah. A little further it is written, Angel Gabriel used to descend with both the Quran and the Sunnah and used to teach Sunnah to the Messenger just like the Quran. From this, we do not accept any differentiation in the revelation.
Hence according to these scholars both the Quran and ahadith are revealed by Allah.
In denial,
i.e.
to consider that it cannot be from Rasulullah, of any one of those ahadith which are declared authentic by the Imams of Sunnah, is kufr.
Those ahadith which have been declared authentic by the Imams of Sunnah are noted in Bukhari and Muslim.
Therefore, the beliefs of these people about these books is, the Ummah is in complete unanimity regarding the ahadith of Bukhari and Muslim, and their authenticity is absolute. After this brief introduction, let us see what kinds of ahadith are in Bukhari Sharif. The denial of any one of which excludes a Muslim from Islam according to these people. The Urdu translation of Bukhari Sharif has been published in 3 volumes by Nur Muhammad Karkhana-e-Tijarat-e Kutab, Karachi. We have quoted all these ahadith word for word from this book and have also provided a reference for every hadith. In the quoted references the page number is given first and then the hadith number. For example, 129 473 means page 129 and hadith number 473. Now let us look at some ahadith as examples.
11.1 About the messengers of Allah. 11.1.1 The stone that took the clothes and ran away.
Abu Huraira quotes Rasulullah as saying said that Bani Israel used to bathe naked and used to look at one another, whereas Moses used to bathe alone. Bani Israel said, by Allah, there is nothing which is preventing Moses from taking a bath with us except that he is suffering from fatigue.
By chance one day Moses started to take a bath and left his clothes on a stone, and the stone grabbing his clothes, started to run away.
Moses chased after it, crying, O stone! Return my clothes! O stone! Return my clothes! Till Bani Israel looked towards Moses and said, by Allah, Moses has no disease, and the stone stopped.
And Moses took his clothes and started beating the stone.
Abu Huraira says that I swear by Allah this stone still has 6 or 7 marks. Because of the beating by Moses. 11.1.2 A slap on the face of the angel of death.
Hazrat Abu Huraira says that the angel of death was sent to Moses.
When he arrived, Moses gave him such a slap that it burst one of his eyes. And he went back to his sustainer and stated, "You have sent me to such a servant who does not want to die." Allah restored his eye and commanded him to return to Moses and ask him to put one of his hands on the back of a bull. Whatever numbers of hairs are covered by his hand, he will be given a year of life for each hair. So the angel came to Moses and conveyed this message of Allah to him.
He said, "O Sustainer, when those years pass, what will happen?"
Allah replied, "Then death will come." He said, "Then let it be now," and he prayed to Allah to keep him only a stone's throw from the Holy Land. Rasulullah, after relating all this, further said that had I been at that place, I would have shown you the grave of Moses on the path near the Red Mound. 11.1.3 Visiting 100 women. Lys says that Ja'far bin Rabia quoted Abdur-Rahman bin Harmaz to me, stating that I heard Hazrat Abu Hurairah quoting Rasulullah relating that one day Sulaiman bin Daud,
the messenger,
said that tonight I will go to 100 women or 99 women, and all the women will each give birth to one horseman who will do jihad in the path of Allah. One of his companions told him, "Say Inshallah," but he did not say Inshallah. And among them only one woman became pregnant, and even she only gave birth to half a child. I swear by he in whose hands is Muhammad's life, that had he said Inshallah, then all the women would have given birth to children, and without doubt all would have been horsemen and done jihad in the path of Allah. 11.1.4 Circumcision of Abraham. Hazrat Abu Hurairah states that Rasulullah said that Abraham circumcised himself using a pasola. At this time he was 80 years old.
11.1.5 The lies of Abraham.
Hazrat Abu Hurairah says that Rasulullah said that Abraham never lied apart from 3 times. Twice he did so for the sake of Allah, i.e., when he said, "I am ill," and when he said, "I have not done this, but the biggest idol among them has done this." This was for Allah. And Rasulullah related that one day he, Abraham, was going somewhere with his wife Sarah when they passed by a cruel king. Someone told the king that a man has come here with a woman who is among the beautiful people. Thus this cruel king sent a man to him who asked Abraham regarding Sarah, as to who she was. Abraham said that she is my sister.
And then Abraham went to Sarah and said, "O Sarah,
there is no moment except me and you on planet Earth. This cruel king asked me about you, and I told him that you were my sister. Now do not falsify me."
And then this cruel king summoned Sarah, and when she reached him, he went to put out his hand towards her and suffered a convulsion.
He asked Sarah to pray to Allah for him, and "I will not harm you now." So she prayed to Allah and he recovered.
He again tried to grab her, and again he suffered in the same way, in fact even more so.
And then he asked Sarah, "Pray to Allah for me, and I will not now cause any harm to reach you." So she prayed for him and he got well. So he called one of his courtiers and said, "You have not brought a human being to me, but have brought a Satan."
And then he gave Hajira to Sarah for her service.
Then Sarah came to Abraham, who was standing reading namaz. Abraham signaled to her with his hand to ask what had happened. Sarah said, "Allah has buried the deception of the kafir in his chest.
And he has given Hajira for our service."
After narrating this hadith, Hazrat Abu Hurairah used to say, "O sons of the heavenly waters, this is your mother." 11.1.6 Kill the lizard. There is a narration from Hazrat Sharik that Rasulullah ordered the killing of a lizard and stated that she used to ignite fire on Abraham. 11.1.7 The height of Adam.
Hazrat Abu Hurairah quotes from Rasulullah that he said that when Allah created Adam, his height was 60 yards. And Allah asked him to go and say salam to these angels and then listen to what they reply.
That will be the salam of you and your progeny. Sir Adam said, Assalamu alaikum.
The angels replied, Assalamu alayka wa rahmatullah, and added rahmatullah.
So whatever individual enters paradise will be in the form of Adam. And then gradually the height kept reducing till today.
11.2 How namaz
Prayers
became mandatory.
Ibn Hazm says, and Uns bin Malik narrates that Rasulullah said that, on the night of Ascension, Shab-e-Miraj, Allah made 50 prayers obligatory on me. While returning with this command, I passed by Moses. Moses asked, what has Allah made obligatory for your ummah? I told him, he has made 50 prayers obligatory on them. Moses said, go back to Allah, as your ummah does not have this much strength.
So I returned and entreated Allah, and so he reduced one part of it. Then I returned to Moses and he said to go back again to Allah, and I did so. And so Allah reduced it by another part.
And then I returned to Moses and explained to him, and he again said to return to Allah because your ummah does not possess this strength.
So I again returned to Allah and entreated.
And Allah said, now 5 prayers have been ordained, and in the case of sawab, reward, they will be the equivalent of 50. And my command is immutable. Then I returned to Moses, who said go back again to Allah, but I said that I feel shame to go back to Allah. Then Gabriel accompanied me till he brought me to Sidratul Muntaha, which was covered by certain colors which I did not recognize. Then I was made to enter paradise, and there the pebbles were pearls and the soil was of musk. 11.3 Rasulullah under the influence of magic. Hazrat Aisha says that on one occasion Rasulullah was put under a magic spell to such an extent that it had an effect.
He used to think that he had done some deed, though in fact he had not, till one day he prayed and prayed persistently.
Later on he told me, do you know that Allah has told me that thing in which is my relief?
2 men came to me.
Of them one sat by my head and the other by my feet. Then one of them said to the other, what is the nature of this man's ailment? The other said that he is under the influence of a magic spell. He asked who has done this magic on him. The other said Ba'id bin Arasam did it.
The first one said, with what thing?
The other said, using a comb, cotton wool and the skin of a wet date. The first one asked, where are these? The other said, in a well called Doran. So Rasulullah headed there, and on return told Hazrat Aisha that the trees around the well were like heads of devils. Hazrat Aisha says the thought occurred to me that this will cause mischief and talk of magic will spread among the people. After this the well was closed off.
11.4 Rasulullah and his virtuous wives.
Uns bin Malik says that Rasulullah used to
manage to visit all 11 of his wives in the duration of one day and night.
Qatada says that I said to Uns that did he, Rasulullah, have enough strength for them all? He said yes, and in fact we used to say that he had been given the strength of 30 men.
And said has quoted from Qatada that Uns mentioned 9 wives to him.
11.5 Copulation during menstruation. Hazrat Aisha says that Rasulullah and I used to bathe using one vessel.
And we would both feel the urge, and Rasulullah would order me, and I would proceed to wear an underdress, and then he would copulate with me.
During the days of Itkaf, Rasulullah would stick out his head towards me, and I used to wash it even when I was menstruating.
Hazrat Aisha says that Rasulullah used to copulate with me though I was menstruating. And he would put out his head from the mosque, while in Itkaf, and I would wash it, though I was menstruating.
Hazrat Aisha says that if any among us of his wives was menstruating, and Rasulullah wished to copulate with her, he would command her to put on an underdress and then he would copulate with her. Aisha said, who among you can control his need more than Rasulullah? Hazrat Aisha says that with Rasulullah, if any of his wives did itkaf with him, if she noted the discharge of any blood while saying prayers, a dish would be kept under it. 11.6 During fasting. Hazrat Aisha says that while fasting Rasulullah used to kiss his wives and used to copulate. But compared to anyone else, he had the most control over his desires.
Abu Bakr bin Abdur Rahman says that I went
with my father to Hazrat Aisha.
She said that I can state with absolute surety that Rasulullah, following sexual intercourse, not wet dream, would not bathe till the morning used to come.
And then he would keep a fast that day. After that we went to Hazrat Salma.
She also said the same.
Abu Jafar says that I asked Abu Abdullah that if someone breaks a fast will he give kafara? Atone.
Like the one who has copulated.
He said no. Do you not look at the ahadith? The words are clearly present in them, lam yujsihi wa in Sam al-Dara. 11.7 About the Sahaba. 11.7.1 The Sahaba became renegades. Allah forbid. Hazrat Ibn Abbas refers to Rasulullah that he said that you people will be gathered barefoot, naked and uncircumcised, and on the day of judgment Abraham will be the first one to be clothed.
And that day, some of my Sahaba to my left will be headed towards hell.
I will say, but these are my companions.
Then Allah will declare these people reverted to their previous deen since the time you parted from them.
Then I will say, as a pious man, like Jesus
said, Wa kunto alayhim shahidan ma dumto fihim.
5. 117. 11.7.2 Cleanliness.
Massa and Marvan relate that Rasulullah went out during the days of Hudaybiyah and then they narrated a full hadith and in it was even this that every time Rasulullah spat,
it would land on the hand of some person who would rub it over his face and body. 11.8 About women. 11.8.1 Ar-Azl. Withdrawal.
There is a narration from Hazrat Abu Sa'id
Khadri that one day when he was sitting with Rasulullah he said that we copulate with the women we capture in jihad. But since we want to sell them we do not want them to become pregnant. So what is your advice regarding Ar-Azl? Rasulullah replied, do you people do this? There is no compulsion on you if you do not do it. Ibn Maris says that I have seen Abu Sa'id, and I once asked him something and he said that during the battle of Bani Mustalik we accompanied the messenger. We found some prisoners among the Arab prisoners. Then we desired women and were overwhelmed by tajarud,
sexual urge,
and we wished Ar-Azl. So we asked Rasulullah regarding this. He said that if you do not do this there will be no harm to you, because whoever has to be born in this world till the day of judgment will be born. 11.8.2 Besides genitals.
Atta says there is no objection if an individual copulates with his pregnant slave woman outside of her genitals.
11.8.3 Mutar. Abdullah bin Mas'ud narrates that we were with Rasulullah in jihad and we did not have women with us.
And it was difficult to tolerate separation from women because of heat and energy.
So we asked Rasulullah should we become castrated. He forbade us, and then gave permission to agree on a few or more days with a woman and have nikah with her.
So that you prevent yourself from being castrated.
And so that no evil glance should be cast on anyone. 11.8.4 Fornicating woman. Hazrat Abu Hurairah narrates that Rasulullah said that in times past, a woman called out to her son, even though her son was saying prayers in his worship room. This woman said Jarij. And the boy said to himself, O Allah! What should I do now? My mother is calling to me.
If I do not reply, she will be angry, and if I speak, my namaz will be wasted.
Then his mother called to him again, O Jarij. This boy said to himself, O Allah! What should I do? My mother is calling me. If I do not reply this will displease her, and if I speak my namaz is lost. Then for a third time, his mother called, O Jarij. Again he thought to himself, O Allah, what should I do? If I do not speak, my mother will be unhappy, and if I speak, my namaz is lost. But when after the third time, he did not respond, his mother became angry and said, O Allah! Death should not come to Jarij till he sees a fornicating woman.
There was a shepherdess who used to graze her goats near his place of worship.
She gave birth to a child.
She was asked, whose child is this?
She replied, Jarij's. He stepped out of his place of worship and shared a bed with me. People went to Jarij and questioned him about this event. Jarij replied, Where is that woman who says that her child is mine?
People brought the woman to Jarij.
Jarij said to this child, O Babos! Who is your father? He replied, A goat herd.
Hence in this way the prayer of Jarij's mother became true, in that Jarij had to see the face of a fornicating woman.
11.9 The woman who refuses. Hazrat Abu Huraira says that Rasulullah said that when a man asks his wife for sex and she refuses, and then the man goes to sleep unhappy, the angels send curses on this woman till the morning. 11.10 Women in hell. Hazrat Imran bin Hussein says that Rasulullah said that when I looked in paradise, I found mostly beggars among the people there, and when I looked in hell, I saw mostly women among the people there.
11.11 Cockeyed child.
In response to the explanation of the translation of the following verse of the Quran. Your wives are as a tilth to you, so approach your tilth when or how you will. 223.
It is narrated from Nafi Mawla ibn Umar that Abdullah bin Umar would not speak to anyone while reading the Quran.
One day I went to him while he was reading the Quran.
While reading Surah Baqarah, when he reached this verse, Nisa'ukum,
your women,
he said to me, Do you know when this verse was revealed?
I said, No, I do not know. He then explained the background and reason for its revelation and then proceeded to read on. Abdus Samad says that the same narrative has reached us from Ibn Umar that some men used to sodomize women and this verse was revealed regarding them. Jabbar says that the Jews used to say that if a man has sex with his wife lying in the prone position, his children will be cockeyed. It was at this time that this verse was revealed that this narration is wrong.
You may copulate with women in any manner one desires.
11.12 General knowledge.
11.12.1 Where does the sun go? Hazrat Abu Zar says that while the sun was setting, Rasulullah said to me, Do you know where the sun goes?
I said, Only Allah and His Messenger are well acquainted with this. Rasulullah said that it goes so that it can prostrate itself under the Arsh throne.
And then it will ask Allah for permission to rise. Then it will be given permission to rise.
And it is possible that it prostrates itself and its prostration is not accepted and it is told to go back to where it came from. This is what is meant by Allah's command. Washamso limustakaran laha zalika takdiru al-aziz al-alim. 36. 38.
This means,
and the sun runs a course for a period determined for it. That is the decree of Him the exalted in might, the all-knowing. 11.12.2 How do the seasons change? Hazrat Abu Huraira says that Rasulullah said that hell complained to Allah, saying, O Allah! One of my parts has been eaten by the other part. So Allah allowed it to breathe twice, one breath in winter and one breath in summer. So when you experience bitter cold, this too is the breath of hell. 11.12.3 Curses in three things. Hazrat Abdullah ibn Umar says that he heard Rasulullah saying that curses only in three things: a horse, a woman and a house. Hazrat Sa'il bin Sa'di narrates that Rasulullah said that, if there is a curse in something it will be in a woman, a horse and a house. 11.12.4 The Bull Speaks.
Hazrat Abu Huraira quotes from Rasulullah that he said that a man was riding on a bull.
That bull turned to the man and said that I was not born for this purpose, I was born for farming.
After relating this incident, Hazrat Abu Hurairah said that I believe in this incident, and Hazrat Abu Bakr and Hazrat Umar also believe it.
A wolf seized a goat and was chased by the shepherd. The wolf said that this time you have retrieved it, but tell me who is going to be the protector of the goat on the seventh day.
On that day there will be no shepherd other than myself. After relating this incident, Hazrat Abu Hurairah said that I believe in this incident, and Hazrat Abu Bakr and Hazrat Umar also believe it.
Rasulullah also gave affirmation on behalf of Abu Bakr and Umar, though they were not present at that time. 11.12.5 Satan farts. Hazrat Abu Hurairah says that Rasulullah said that when the azan for namaz is announced, call to prayer, then Satan turns his back and runs away farting, till he can no longer hear the azan.
And when the muezzin,
the one who announces the azan,
becomes silent, Satan comes in front again. And when the takbir, azan before the start of the prayer, is said, again turning his back he runs away.
And when the person saying takbir becomes silent, then Satan again comes in front and is with a man saying his namaz.
Satan says to him to try and remember that thing which he could not remember, to such an extent that he forgets how much prayer he has said. Abu Salma says that when any one of you faces such a situation, he should perform 2 prostrations of sav. Additional prostrations for making a mistake. Abu Salma heard this from Hazrat Abu Hurairah. 11.13 Salvation from punishment. 11.13.1 Reduction in punishment. Ibn Abbas says that Rasulullah went into some garden among the gardens of Makkah or Medina where he heard the voices of 2 persons who were being subjected to torture in the graves. Then Rasulullah said that these 2 are being subjected to torture, and it is not a very big thing for which they are being tortured. Then he stated, yes, one of them did not protect himself from his urine and the other indulged in backbiting. And then Rasulullah asked for a branch and broke it in 2 pieces and placed one on each grave. He was asked, O Rasulullah, why did you do this? He replied that I hope that until the time that these branches dry out, the punishment of these 2 will reduce. 11.13.2 Paradise in spite of fornication. Hazrat Abu Zar relates that Rasulullah said that one of my visitors came from Allah and gave me the glad tidings that whoever from among my ummah dies in such a state that he does not equate anyone with Allah, he will be in paradise. I asked, even if he had been a fornicator and had committed theft. Rasulullah said even if fornicated or thieved. 11.13.3 If you do not commit a sin then. At this point let us look at a hadith quoted from Sahih Muslim. This hadith has been quoted by Maulana Abu al-Kalam Azad in his translation and tafsir of the Quran. His translation is that Rasulullah said, I swear by the one in whose hands is my life that if you become such that you commit no sin, then Allah will remove you from the earth and replace you with another group whose practice is that they are deep in sins and then they ask for mercy and forgiveness from Allah. 11.13.4 Bani Israel are mice. Hazrat Abu Hurairah relates that Rasulullah said that a group of Bani Israel became lost and it is not known what happened to it. I think that these mice are those same ones. The lost group. Because when a camel's milk is placed in front of them they do not drink, but when goat's milk is placed before them, they drink it. 11.13.5 If Bani Israel had not existed, then. Hazrat Abu Hurairah narrates that Rasulullah said that had Bani Israel not existed, meat would never have gone off, and if Eve had not existed, no woman would have cheated on her husband. 11.13.6 If a fly falls, then. Hazrat Abu Hurairah narrates that Rasulullah said that if a fly falls in someone's food or drink he should dip it down completely
into the food or drink, and then take it out because of its two wings. One wing contains disease and the other contains healing power. 11.13.7 The cock sees the angel. Hazrat Abu Hurairah narrates that Rasulullah said that when you hear the crowing of a cock, ask for Allah's grace, because the cock crows when he sees an angel. And when you hear a donkey braying, ask for Allah's protection from Satan, because the donkey brays when he sees Satan.
11.13.8 From where does the sun rise?
Hazrat Ibn Umar says that Rasulullah said that you should not let the time of sunrise and sunset come while praying. This is because the sun rises between the two horns of Satan.
11.13.9 How does one get fever?
Hazrat Rafi bin Khadij says that I heard Rasulullah saying that fever is created from the boiling of hell. You should therefore cool it down with water.
11.13.10 The order to drink urine.
Uns says that some people of Akal or Arena came, but fell ill in Medina. Rasulullah gave the order to give them a few she-camels so that these people could drink their milk and urine. So they went into the jungle and did this very thing. When they recovered, they killed Rasulullah's goat herd, and shepherded the camels away. At the break of dawn, Rasulullah received this news and he sent men after them. At the height of the day they were captured and brought back. Rasulullah gave an order and their hands and feet were amputated and hot needles were put into their eyes and they were thrown onto hot rocks.
When they asked for water they were refused.
11.13.11 Monkey was stoned to death. Umro bin Mamun says that in the times of ignorance, I saw a monkey around which a lot of monkeys had gathered. The monkey had committed fornication and they all stoned him.
I also participated in stoning it.
11.13.12 Jinn. Hazrat Abu Hurairah is quoted as stating that Rasulullah said this night a jinn, or said some such word, came to me so that he could disturb my prayers. Allah gave me strength over him and I formed the intention to tie it to some pillar of the mosque so that you people could see it in the morning. Rasulullah released the jinn after humiliating him. 11.14 The last word. This is an example of those ahadith which are present in Bukhari Sharif. In it there are many more such ahadith. If you reject even one of these ahadith, then you are declared a kafir according to these Hazrat
scholars.
Now it is up to you to decide if such types of ahadith are capable of being accepted and recognized as truly having been the sayings of Rasulullah. These are the kinds of ahadith on the rejection of which Tolu-e-Islam is declared Munkir-e-Hadith, denier of ahadith, and is declared to be outside the sphere of Islam.
And these are the types of ahadith which the opponents of Islam use to accuse and smear the character of Rasulullah. Tolu-e-Islam says to them that these ahadith are not even from Rasulullah, therefore he is above all such accusations.
And this is the crime for which Tolu-e-Islam is declared to be out with the sphere of Islam.